Good afternoon, everybody. How you doing? It's a Saturday afternoon ramble. I haven't really done one in a couple of weeks. Just had a wee sit down, and today I was looking at some of my look. This knife's just dropped, the Jack Wolf knife, and I've been sitting playing with this for 2 weeks. This is just a stunning knife, and I was sitting thinking, 10 years ago, over here in the UK, we had a very poor selection of modern slip joints. You could always buy slip joints, there's no problem. But modern slip joints, we had a very poor selection because modern knives tend to be lock-in knives. Companies tended to just do lock-in knives, but didn't do. And yes, you could get the modern knives, but I mean, even you hear all the time on YouTube that this is the golden age for knife collecting. It really is, because the variety and the variety of price ranges is blooming bonkers. It really is. And in the mid-range and budget range, you get knives that are way above the standard that they should be for that price. Do you know what I mean? They're just knocking them out. Such fantastic knives. But this went live last night, the Jack Wolf knives, and it's my favourite modern knife by far. By far. The variety that he puts out, the different covers, everything about them just shrieks blooming gorgeous. I mean, I get them in my hand. This has now gone to, I think it's probably number one. I changed my number 5. This went in. One had to leave. I'll maybe do a wee video on that if you're interested, what my top 5 is. But nowadays, even over here in the UK, we're able to get, and it's easier to get, and it's easier to find. It's easier for somebody to come into the hobby now and have the choice that we have here, because everybody comes in at a different budget. I mean, I really genuinely started on budget because I thought I'm never going to spend much money on knives. I love them and I like collecting them, and I love the budget ones. Absolutely had a ball when I was doing it, but gradually it gets a hold of you and you want more and more. And I've been really fortunate through lots of other circumstances, usually beyond my control, to be able to buy knives now, which I thought would have been impossible. So I am feeling very blessed at the moment. But today I just picked out, now these, I would say these are my top modern knives, modern traditional, and they're not modern traditional, sorry, I'm saying that wrong. They're modern slip joints and modern interpretation of older slip joints would be the Jack Wolf knives. But I was just sitting thinking that, good gosh, what a beautiful set of knives. If I never get another modern slip joint, what's down here on the table? Now, I have multiples of these, but I don't have multiples of the rest. I mean, this is one heck of a selection, from mid-range. These two are mid-range, are about 60, 70 pound. This one was about 50, I think. That was, I got that for 70. This one was 150. This one's 200, 275, about 140 with my discount, 145, and then 300 for this one. So I've got a really great selection at most of the price ranges. I don't have any real budget ones that are modern. And I wonder, I'm just going to have to check but I don't think I've actually was changing my drawers all around today. Sorry, this is going to be just a wee ramble. It's going to disappear. I was sorting out my cabinet in front of me. I got this wooden cabinet here, and I was resorting my drawers out again and where I wanted my knives. Where I go to, I want to go to one drawer and get as many as a can of a certain type of knife. But I don't think I have any more modern slip joints. I think this is it, barring, multiples of this. I'm thinking, well, what do I want to get to fill that gap up? And I haven't got any sort of 20, 30, 40 pound ones. And it's something I really need for my collection. And don't ask me why I need it, because I have no idea. But I feel as if just to make up that, I mean, it's saying modern, well, you couldn't even call them modern. I've my sack knives that I can get in that price range, but I mean this sort of slip joint knife, a single bladed slip joint knife. So I'm going to have to research. So down below, if you've got any budget modern slip joints that you think would fit in here, because I want one or two at that 20, £30 that I can use for examples. Um, and when I say modern, let me just break down modern. Modern is something which is screwed. Anything that's screwed is a modern slip joint. To me, in my eyes, that's what I call modern, because it'll never be a slip joint if it's screwed. Again, just in my eyes, a proper slip joint is, and a traditional slip joint is one that is pinned. Not that it makes any difference, but that's just what my category is. So I need to find out two budget ones to do. Here's another one I got recently, and I flipping. Do you know, I've that many lovely knives that I bought recently in the last 6 months, say, that I'm not carrying enough. So I need to calm down. I'm sort of, I don't know whether anybody else has this problem, whether you're a YouTuber or you just collect knives, but you get a knife in your pocket and you love it and you want to carry it, but you get another new one and then you want to carry it and then you get another new one. And by the time you get back to it again, it might be 6 months before you've carried it. And I hate that. And that's why I'm trying to slim down my collection, get rid of some of the stuff that I'm not using or carrying, so that I have this selection of knives that I can rotate, that I can use. And if I'm not going to use them, trade them on for something else. And I think that's the way I'm really heading now, is trimming it right down. I have trimmed an awful lot of my knives down. I don't have anywhere near as much. I think I'd be about 150 knives now. I think it would be somewhere around there. Maybe a wee bit more. I never would count them because it would do my head in. But I really would love to get down to about 100. That would be my goal, is get down to about 100. But then you see what goes into my mind. I don't count sacks in it, and I don't count my old vintage ones in that bracket, because they're just not going anywhere. So I fool myself into thinking, oh, I'm really cutting down, but I would love to get down to about 100. I don't ever see that being possible. But I mean, this is beautiful, and like we're talking about UK knives. I mean, these are all UK legal, and I'm getting stuff like Magnacut, 20CV, M390. This is S90V, it's M390. So, I mean, there's an abundance of great steels out there. And I don't feel as if I'm missing a locking knife at all. Now, I still have my locking knives, and I still buy locking knives, but I've cut them down a number. But the ones that I have got now are feckin' gorgeous. It's just lovely. I mean, this is just a fantastic. Look how slim that is. I still can't get over it, but I can't get over how comfortable it is. Whichever way they've rounded these handles, and a lot of places round their handles over, but they don't give the comfort of this little knife. And if anybody's got one of these, chime in, let me know what you think. This is for a skinny little knife, this is so comfortable in the hand to use. It's amazing. I don't know how they've done it. I have no idea how they made this so nice in hand. And like yesterday, I'm going to, again, I told you I'll just slip off. I got myself this week, which is just never. I've only got one grail, but this is right up there. This is overtaking my grail as the most beautiful knife I have, without doubt. The Chris Reeves Sebenza 31. This is in S35VN, which is absolutely fine. Suits me in my lifestyle. Easy to resharpen. Not a problem. I've got the super steels. I don't need to go much higher. But this is beautiful. But I decided I would take the clip off it. And I'm looking at it thinking, that's not bad. It's a bit fussy around here with the clip taken off, because the clip would cover here and here. Bit fussy, but in hand without a clip. Now the clip is beautiful in this, but taking the clip off, I've even more room. I don't have to fidget to get it between these two fingers, which it does. Absolutely love it. So I think I'm just going to carry this in a slipcase. To be honest, I've got their own. They send you this slipcase. What is it? Think twice, cut once. And it is just lovely in there. So I think that's just the way I'm going to carry that. Yeah. In your collection, if you are somebody who likes slip joints and you're watching this, have you started to fill out gaps? starting off at now these are mid-range ones, this is not mid-range. Sort of from here it goes up to 135. That's expensive for a knife, especially if you're just around. But do you sit down with your collection like this and go through and think, well, what do I really want? This is the only way I know what I really want to look for specifically for the channel. But even if I had the collection, I would want it because I don't just want all deer knives. That would definitely be a no-no. That's not what I want. I don't want all deer knives. I want knives at every range so that, especially if a topic comes up and you're on YouTube, you've got knives in that bracket you can talk about. I mean, all these are fantastic and I recommend them to just anybody. I mean, twisted assisted. This is, what are they called? QSP. This is a fantastic knife. Absolutely fantastic. This is not a blade shape I use a whole lot, but as a knife and as a usable knife, the hollow grind is amazing. You can use this for anything. It's even got a point there, you know what I mean? But then this is something about the same price. This is the twisted assisted Junzi. An absolutely amazing knife with a blade shape I prefer to use. So this would get used more than this, simply because of that blade shape. And it's funny, I was sitting doing my Jack Wolf knives, because I wanted to change the top 5, this had to go in it. And I was looking through the knives, and when I picked the top 5, I realised that I had taken away, I'm sort of giving this away now, but I'd taken away the sheep's foot and I'd taken away the Wharncliffe, because although they're two blades that I love, and I've plenty of them in my collection in traditional knives, I tend to go for that spear point, drop point, fat spear. For an EDC, I prefer that shape. And again, sometimes until you put it down in front of you and you realise what you've been carrying, nearly all my high-end knives are either clip points, spear points. This is the Hinder Slippy, which is a drop point, but it's just beautiful. So for detailed work, I have plenty of knives that have got Wharncliffes and sheepfoot blades and lambfoot blades. I've a ton of them for anything that I'll ever need to do. So I've sort of realised, right, well, I don't sort of need to look for them anymore. I have enough there that's going to do me. So there's another thing I found out. I'm not going to be getting too many Wharncliffes and too many sheepsfoots now, because I have enough in there. And new patterns that the traditional knives will come out in, I'll probably buy more of them, but I don't need them in my UK legal carry slip joints, because I'm not carrying them that often. And this took the place of a Wharncliffe in my collection. So again, sitting down here, what else has changed? There's another knife. For all the years that I've been doing this, and I had, as you know, I had Higo Nakamis, then I got this little traditional knife. This is in my pocket nearly every day. It might be the second or third knife that I have on me, but it just goes in there because I love it. I just love sitting footering with this. I mean, there's nothing great about it. You can just open it all the ways you want, different ways. But it's just such a well-made knife. I just love everything about it. And as a wee EDC for cutting bits of string, it can't be beat. And it's taken me 6 years to find a knife like this, which is amazing. It just shows you the amount of choice that I've been able to have over this last 6 years doing YouTube and before YouTube. I didn't really have choices. Now we're spoilt for choice, which is amazing. I love that. And the fact that I can do this video now talking about the choice that I have for UK legal knives. If you go back 6, 7, 8 years ago in YouTube, there was very little in this category available in the UK. They just weren't available. And honestly, it's just a joy to have so many different knives in your collection. And I mean, like even this, I hated this. No, I didn't hate it. That's a lie. I like this, but I thought, I'll never use this wee thing. It's probably one of my most used knives. It sits in my desk, opens everything, cuts everything. It's just fantastic. What's the blade steel? The blade steel is 14C28N, which is just fantastic. I mean, I've never had to sharpen it. I just strop it. It just comes back again after a strop. But I use this regularly because it just sits over here to the side. and I love it. I just love it. Never thought I would love it. That's another twisted assisted knife, the twisted tulip. I love that. The twisted before a name really makes a knife dangerous sounding. Sorry, I'm going to have a wee puff here. I'm enjoying this wee chat to myself. um, what else has sort of stood out? Here's another company that this was the first I got. Now this came to me via Fraymore Knives. This is the Giant Mouse, and this is the Ace Farley. What a stunning little pocket knife. This really is the sort of what you would want in just a pocket knife. You know, I have a large hand. I have to sort of sneak up here if I want to get the full hand. I can get here and I can get 4 fingers on. They're just hanging on the end of that. But that's enough for a small use knife. But then you're getting it with M390. It's micarta. This came with a green micarta. I dyed it the other week. This lovely, lovely royal blue. It's just gorgeous. It has changed the whole look of the knife. Still has that micarta feeling, but it's changed the whole look of it. Absolutely loving it. Really, really enjoying it. And it's little things like that that I enjoy doing in my collection. Again, I'm going to go back. A lot of people buy knives and part of their hobby is upgrading them, doing all sorts of things. I tend not to do that. You know, I might buy a clip every now and then, but I usually buy them from China. Instead of paying 25, I get them for about £3. Although I'm not ordering from China anymore because it's such a hassle here, especially knives. I just haven't been ordering at all. But again, I think it's, you know, feeling grateful sometimes for what I do have and being able to share what I have with you is what makes YouTube special. You know, there's not many places, especially over here, where you can talk about knives with other people. I'm really fortunate, again, through YouTube. I've met people over here in this country who I adore. I've met such lovely friends that come round to my house and we'll sit and talk for hours. We've got Justin. I mean, we can talk for hours, the two of us, and we're never stuck for a word. And I just think that's unbeatable. And we're at different stages. Me and Justin are at completely different stages of our knife collecting, although he's catching me up blooming fast. He really is catching me up. He has bought some beautiful knives and he's going to do some unboxings on this. I think it's this Monday night we're going to do. It's me and him, and he's got 2 knives especially that I really want to see the unboxings of. I've seen the knives, but I want to hear what he thinks of them because I don't know, it's such a joy. It's a joy sharing other people's joy. So when you say that, it's true because, I mean, I probably watch more new channels than I do older channels have been around a long time because they're usually moved up to that higher end collecting phase. And not a lot of them are really interested in and I'm not doing this to run them down. It's, everybody does what you want on YouTube. Nobody tells you what to do, but they're not really into that low to medium end knives. They, you know, their passion would be for the more higher grade ones now, and that's fine as well. I mean, they all of them, I think, without fail, put a budget knife in every now and then, which is fantastic. It gives the budget guys a little chance to see them. But I mean, I probably hang about with people who are, I don't know, my mind is still down there. My ability to get higher end knives has improved, but my mind is still in that, let's find a really good budget knife. I spend hours now doing that. And I found a couple this week. Well, I've done reviews on them. In fact, I don't even think it was reviews. We just chatted about them. I've reviews to come. But I mean, here's one that, oh, sugar. Oh, it's all my knives gone. Oh, well. This one here, sorry for that noise. I got this one recently, and this is the Bob Dozier K-Bar. I just think this is lovely. It really is a gorgeous little knife. It's plastic. It's got a nice little clip. The retention's great. It's not deep carry. Lovely hollow grind in it. But instead of the Oz 8, this is in D2. And it was under £50 for this. What a fantastic knife for under £50. Now, I know it's plain and there's not a lot of shape on it. And I know I've got away from these, but This has really got me back because I've had an Aussie 8 one for years. I've had lots of them and I like them. But because I can sharpen, Aussie 8 was never a problem. But this with the D2 now, I love this sort of like titanium coat to have on it. This ergonomically is as good as any knife in this planet. This feels so comfortable. The clip doesn't bother you. It's so flat down compared to most clips. Sometimes you'll feel that a tiny wee bit, but you move your hand and it disappears. It is a stunning offering. I love the shape. It's just a working knife. A knife that you're going to use. There's nothing fancy about it. All the frills have been taken out of the knife, but yet in that simplicity, they've made it such a good knife. So if you're looking for a real good knife under £50, this Dozier is definitely there. Go for the D2. You may as well. It's a few pound more, but you're going to get that longevity of the blade. And I mean, as you use them, this is able to, you can flick this down like this and just close it one-handed. And in hand, I think I would be sure in my original reviews, which have been a long time ago, this wee knife is so much more solid than what you think it's going to be. It is so good. The fit and finish is fantastic. It locks up beautifully. Everything about it when you get it in hand will surprise you. Well, it did me. Let's put it like that. It did me. But I do love this knife, and that was one of the great buys I got this year. You know, I've got it up there as one of the great buys that I got this year, which is sort of unusual when you think of the price and some of the knives that I do get. Getting that again and just going for the upgrade. There you are. Knife collecting is simple. I think this is what I need to do more of is my Saturday rambles. I do this whether I do a ramble on a Saturday to myself. If it's not to you, if I don't get to make the video, well, there we go. But I pick a load of knives and get them out in front of me. And sometimes I'm thinking about what reviews I'm going to do during the week or whatever. But I just put knives all out in front of me. And then something usually comes into my head. And then I start, well, how many, modern slip joints do I have? And that was it. I was surprised at how little it was, but yet surprised at the quality that I have. These are knives that are just fantastic quality. From this, to the high-end £300 Hinderer. They're all fantastic knives. They really, really are. We are so lucky. I suppose, actually, I think I've actually been grateful. You see, because I was able to get this week and beg, steal, borrow, swap stuff about, trade, get money together. I was able to get this comfortably. I own it. It's mine. Fair and square. I love that. It does make it a little bit more special. But there we go. I think I've waffled on long enough. But I think you know what I'm talking about. I mean, are you like this? Would you sit down and get a category of knives out, put them all out in front of you and then think, well, what do I need for that category? And that's the way I want to move forward. Suppose after all that nonsense I've talked for 23 minutes, this is the way I want to go forward, is just get a category and then fill in the gaps and then move on to another category, fill in the gaps or start writing a list. But lists are bad for me because then I'm hunting. I go to bed at night and it's in my head and out comes a list. I'm sitting in my bed lying, just typing away, trying to find that. But hey, that's the fun. Do you want to know, the search is probably as much of the fun as getting the knives, to be honest with you. Which again is just great. But there we go. Right, I am sure this is a lot of tripe. I'll listen back to it before I put it up. But chip in, let me know what you think of anything I've talked about, if it's any sense to anybody. Bye-bye. I'm away. I'm not away. I've got a wee cup of tea here. I'm going to sit and drink it and put these knives away. Take care. Bye-bye now.